everybody. This recording will cover the assignments, and there are two for week 5, chapter 5. So you will submit just one assignment document, but there's kind of two parts. Okay, so the first part is application 5.2, which is on page 114 in your textbook, is where it starts on page 114. And then the second part is developing classroom procedures, looks like, sounds like chart. For those of you who are currently teaching, who are currently in your classrooms or currently in classrooms, you might already have some examples of some of these. But for some of you who have not been in your own classroom yet, these are just kind of things to think about to get you ready for your own classroom and everything, and to try to prepare you as well as we all can. So the first part again is application 5.2. It starts on page 114. And what you're going to do, you're going to look at some classroom arrangements. Okay, after reading through chapter 5, looking through the PowerPoint, thinking about everything we've talked about so far in the semester, and you're going to go to page 114, examine the 3 sets of classroom arrangements on pages 114 to 116 in your textbook. And they look kind of like this. For some reason, I didn't copy. I was trying to find a document camera, we call it a ladybug camera, and I couldn't find one anywhere that was easy to move. So I decided I would just scan the pages. But this is what it looks like. The first one, so it says special education classroom example. And then, oh, how did that just move? Oh, and then that one says special education classroom non-example. Okay, and then the next one is secondary language arts classroom example and non-example. And I somehow missed copying the one that is the primary classroom example and the primary classroom non-example. But when you go to page 114, you will see 3 different arrangements. Okay, so you'll see a secondary one. Well, in order, you'll see a special ed classroom example and non-example. You'll see a primary classroom example and non-example. That page is missing here. And you will see a secondary language arts classroom example and non-example, okay? So you're going to use those pages in your textbook to help you with this assignment. So as I said, each set includes an example, a desirable classroom organization, and a non-example that presents a number of challenges. For each set, so there's 3 sets, right? We just talked about that, the special ed, primary, and secondary language arts. Those are your 3 sets. So for each set, you're going to inspect the example and note the desirable qualities of the classroom. Next, examine the corresponding non-example and record any suggestions that you would make. And these directions, by the way, are taken right from the textbook. So I want you to try to come up with at least 3 desirable qualities for each example of each of the 3 sets, right? And then at least 3 suggestions for each set of arrangements. You can certainly come up with more than that, but try for at least 3 desirable qualities and at least 3 suggestions. You will submit your answers in a Word document for your week 5 to submit. I have the Word document already prepared for you, and I'll show you that to you in just a second. Detailed bullet points or descriptive sentences are acceptable, okay? So, don't just say, oh, the reading center. Well, whatever. What about the reading center? So tell me either some detailed bullet points or descriptive sentences. Again, 3 desirable qualities and at least 3 suggestions, if you can, for each set of arrangements. And again, the 3 sets are the special education classroom, example and non-example, primary classroom, example and non-example, and secondary language arts classroom, example or non-example, and non-example. And I guess I should be a little more clear. So for the example, this example, right, this example, and this example, that's where you will come up with the 3 desirable qualities, okay? And then you'll use the non-example, right here, the non-example here, the non-example here, and the non-example here to come up with 3 suggestions you would make. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. So let me go back to those pages really quickly. So the special education classroom, so this is your first set, right? The special education classroom and non-example. Example and non-example, I don't think I said that right. But you will go into this one first, this example, and you will find at least 3 desirable qualities of this example. Then you will look here at the non-example to come up with at least 3 suggestions for improvement. Okay, hopefully that makes a little more sense than what I was just saying. So same thing for the primary classroom and same thing for the secondary one. For the secondary language arts classroom example, you will look right here at this example and describe 3 desirable qualities that are in this classroom arrangement. And then you will look here at the non-example, and that's where you will provide your suggestions. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. And I know the print, it's probably not a big deal for you all, but for me, ooh, it is kind of hard to see some of this stuff. So get your magnifying glasses ready. Okay, so hopefully, again, that makes sense. So here's where you'll find the examples are where you will find the desirable qualities, and the non-examples, this is what you will use to make the suggestions. Okay, so on your assignment document, it's going to look like this. All right, so special education classroom example. So again, here's where you're going to list your desirable qualities. Boop, 1, 2, 3, bulleted points or detailed bullets or descriptive sentences. And then over here, the non-example, this is where you will list the 3 suggestions for each set of arrangements. Okay, so positive qualities, whoop, 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 under the example, whoop, 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 whoop. And then 3 suggestions right here, and right here. Okay, so hopefully you'll see the difference when you start looking at the set. So you'll say, oh, that's a great example of blah, 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 blah. And you'll look at the non-example and you'll say, oh, what is the matter with these people? Let me give them some suggestions. All right, so hopefully that, that makes sense. So again, 3 desirable qualities here, 3 desirable qualities here, 3 desirable qualities here. And then 3 suggestions here under this non-example, 3 suggestions here under this non-example, and 3 suggestions here under this non-example. All right, so that's your first part of the assignment. And again, that's application 5.2. And then your second part is develop classroom procedures, looks like, sounds like chart. So what you'll do as you read through chapter 5, I want you to really focus specifically on pages 122 to 130. They have a lot of good ideas in there for procedures and you know, how to kind of make things work on the daily basis. So I want you to use figure 5.6 on page 129 as, and I have to find it, hold on. One moment, please. I know y'all are sad that you never get to meet me and hear me singing in person. Okay, so on page 129, figure 5.6, examples of looks like, sounds like chart. So it gives you the examples of lining up and walking to another location, completing independent work while the teacher teaches small reading groups, and then oral presentations, the speaker. So those are the examples in your textbook. So you're just going to use page 129 as an example for you, but you're going to choose, or not choose, you're going to create your own looks like, sounds like charts for these 5 activities, behaviors, whatever you want to call them. Okay, and so of course you will just submit in the Word document. So this is right underneath where we just were, right, in week 5, assignments to submit. Here's where you will do the first part, application 5.2, and then you'll come down here, and here's where you will do your looks like, sounds like chart. All right, so use the textbook again. Think about specifically, what do you want during small group instruction? What does group behavior look like and sound like? Okay, so what does the behavior of the small group with whom you are working? Using the hallway restroom when the whole class waits in line in the hall together. What does a group behavior look like and sound like? So this one, I'm kind of going under the premise that you do not have a bathroom in your classroom. Okay, I know a lot of elementary, middle schools around here and high schools, you know, they do not have a restroom in their classroom. So a lot of times the class will go into the hall together, they will wait in line, and then the teacher will send in, you know, 2 or 3 students. So that's kind of what I'm basing this on, okay? So just imagine that you have the whole class waiting in line to use the restroom, you know, you're sending in 2 or 3 students. So what does the group behavior in the hallway look like and sound like? I don't want to know what it looks like in the restroom, right? So what does a group behavior look like and sound like when they are out in the hall? Okay, during time at stations or centers, what does the behavior look like and sound like? And again, if you're, you know, not again, but if you're more of a secondary person, you might say, oh, I don't really know, but just kind of thinking about some stations, you know, some people call them learning stations, some people call them learning centers, some people call them, you know, kind of differentiated instruction. So what does the behavior look like and sound like when an adult comes into the classroom to borrow something from you, right? Or just to say hi. The person's not coming in to speak to the whole class. They're not coming in to present anything. It's just maybe somebody down the hall saying, hey, do you have a math book that I could borrow? And then you start talking for a couple seconds because, that's what adults and teachers do. And, oh, how's your day? Oh, good. How's yours? So what do you want the behavior of your class to look like and sound like while you are talking to another adult? And then finally, when students arrive to your classroom in the morning with book bags or backpacks, whatever you want to call them, and lunch boxes, again, we're assuming that they all or most of them have book bags and lunch boxes. What does the behavior of the class look like and sound like? So meaning, think about, okay, when they get to your classroom first thing in the morning, how are they going to handle putting up their book bags and lunch boxes? What are they going to do? Are they just going to throw them in a pile? Are they going to throw them in their cubbies? Are they going to just whip them around at their friends? So what does that behavior look like and sound like? All right, and you will answer all those into this chart that I already have prepared for you. Again, you can do detailed bulleted points, or descriptive sentences. You might end up needing more space. That's fine too. You can type just right into this this chart as well. So again, during small group instruction, when we are having small group instruction, it looks like you are. So this is kind of as if you were teaching this to your students. Okay, when we are having small group instruction, it looks like you are. When we are having small group instruction, it sounds like you are using the hallway restroom. When we are waiting in the hallway to use the restroom, it looks like you are, kind of you as a class. When we are waiting in the hallway to use the restroom, it sounds like you are. Same thing for center stations. When we are spending times at center stations, it looks like you are. When we are spending times at center stations, it sounds like you are. And then same thing when adult comes into the classroom, when an adult comes into the classroom, looks like, sounds like. And then when students arrive in the morning. So when you arrive to our classroom in the morning with book bags and lunch boxes, it looks like you are. When you arrive to our classroom in the morning with book bags and lunch bags, it sounds like you are. And make them user friendly, right? Because hopefully maybe one day you'll be able to use some of these procedures with your students. So you want to write them in student friendly terms, kind of short sentences or short bullet points, right? You don't need a whole 27-minute discussion about what to do when they arrive with their book bag. So short, sweet, to the point, and really use the textbook pages 122 to 130 as some examples for you. All right, so again, this is the page that you will submit, week 5 assignments to submit. So you will submit your analyses of classroom arrangements. Remember, desirable qualities on this side, suggestions over here for each set of photos that you'll see or arrangements that you'll see in the textbook. And then classroom procedures, looks like, sounds like. You will do all 5 of these. What it looks like, what it sounds like, looks like, sounds like, and do. All right, hopefully that makes sense. Use your textbook as a guide. Again, this assignment document is just giving you examples again and again. As I've said before, I'm probably, overkilling. I could probably just do it with one page for y'all, but I like to be detailed. And then that is it for chapter 5, week 5. I'll be back with chapter 6.